Hi, this is Roman, and today I'm going to show how to use Google Jamboard as a modeling tool and as an assessment tool for the topic of partitioning a line segment. If you've never seen Jamboard before, you click the apps icon when you're in your Google account, and if you go down, every Google account should have Jamboard, which is a digital whiteboard. As I click it, you'll see all of my Jamboards. You can click plus if it's your first time to create a brand new Jamboard. Clicking the Untitled Jam here gives you the option to name it. You'll see tools such as a writing utensil, an eraser, your mouse, a sticky tool for notes, adding an image, adding a shape, a text box, and a laser pointer if you want to bring attention to something that just goes away right away. Great for modeling purposes. So here's my topic for partitioning a line segment, and I'm going to show how you would use Google Jamboard to model the graphic method, which is very popular among students. So the reason I would suggest using this platform and not necessarily Nearpod or Desmos in this case is because with Nearpod or Desmos, you would really guide the student into the method that you want them to solve, where in this case, you leave them with the opportunity to do it algebraically, or if they like, they could set the background to a graph to do it the graphic method. So this strategy is used for questions that do not provide a graph, and just like on a Regents exam, by clicking setting that background, it's just like students ripping the last piece of paper on a Regents exam to get that piece of graph paper to utilize this strategy. If you haven't seen the graphic method, I'm going to go through it right now. So the first thing you would do is just to create a graph. I'm creating my y-axis and my x-axis. Not sure why I did that. Redo that. And then from here, I'm going to plot my points. So we have -5. I'm going to go left 5, down 4, and I'm labeling that point K. And then I'm going to go to 5, 1. So right 5, up 1. To get to L, and then my last step would be to just connect these points. So for the graphic method, the first step that you might ask students to do would be to just create a right triangle that connects both of these points. And for the graphic method, students really just have to choose either a change in X or change in Y, which makes this a very fast technique to get to the solution. So if we look at the change in X, we have -5 to 5, which is just 10 units, and it also helps drawing these arrows, letting students know that change in X is moving horizontally from left to right. And from here, we want to let students know that if we're looking to partition this line segment into a ratio of 3 to 2, that means we're looking for the point that's 3/5 of the way, right? And then if we're looking at A to B, we're really looking for A over A plus B, can't show them that. And we're multiplying this by the change in X. And again, if you want, you could just draw those arrows there going from left to right to indicate where the students would be going. From experience, I know my students just love entering this into the calculator to get a solution, which would be 6 in this case. So for them to solve this question, they would go 6 units starting from K towards the direction of L. So we're just going 6 units, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then they go towards the line until they get to the solution, which in this case is 1, -1. So now that we have our answer, you can choose to show them the other method, not the other method, or just the change in Y in this case. change in y is from -4 to 1, which is just 5 units. And again, I'm going to tell them that this is going up or down. So if we're looking for the point that partitions this line segment into a ratio of 3 to 2, or gets us 3/5 of the way, we would just multiply 3/5 times 5. And the 5's divide out and we get 3. In this case, at our starting point K, we were just going to go up 3 units. And if we go up 3 units and then go towards the line again, we get 1, -1 as the point that partitions this line segment into a ratio of 3 to 2. So that's the graphic method that you might use to model for students. And I was using my iPad to model it as it's on the computer screen in live time. So one more use that you could use for Jamboard, as I have a whole different slide here, is using it as an assessment tool. So what you'll notice here is I have a sticky note for feedback where you can give feedback. So you can click your sticky note and provide students with feedback. You could use your writing tool and choose a different color ink than the student used to write feedback, or you could add an image and upload the solution for students to revise their work based on that solution. So one key way to utilize this for assessment will be to incorporate it with your Google Classroom. So as I click my Google Classroom here, just click a section, click classwork, and create an assignment. And just like any other Google Doc, as we enter our link here, you can make a copy for each student. So each student gets to work with their own individual whiteboard. And similar to Desmo, similar to Nearpod, you get to give them individual feedback. I think this would be great for a summative assessment for students. So this is how you would use Google's Jamboard interactive whiteboard to model partitioning a line segment and possibly for assessment for partitioning a line segment.